In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, you gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here from expatsportugal.com with the Good Morning Portugal live stream. Never mind about liking, please liking. Smash those likes, everybody. Still don't quite understand what that means. I think it's a vigorous invitation from certain members of this community to press the like button. I don't see anything change here. It must occur on other platforms. And we welcome people from Facebook this morning on the Good Morning Portugal and Expats Portugal pages of Facebook and, of course, YouTube. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We're nearly at 10,000 people or 10,000 subscribers. Some of them might be bots, mightn't they, with somewhat nefarious purposes infiltrating our community. So we need to be ever vigilant with such matters. And the robots, they move among us, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's all organic. Any road up, we have a fantastic day for you today, basically, this morning. Special guests are Konni and Hank. Konni and Hank, everybody. Great favourites on the Expats Portugal forum. Their adventure and aspirations when it comes to Portugal, well documented, and they're good sharers on their experience, and they'll be doing that with us this morning from around 9 o'clock. A couple of lovely photos to show you from them. Guess where they are at the moment, okay? I've got to guess where I was yesterday and guess where Hank and Konni are. They may have moved on since this picture was taken. Look at this beautiful picture here. Konni having a great time in a certain city in Portugal. Can you guess it, where it is? And another one here. Isn't that an iconic bridge, which should give you the idea of where they are? That's a fabulous picture, isn't it? And two lovely aspects of the wonderful personality of Konni, who will be joined by Hank later on this morning after 9 o'clock. Tonight, I said we had a great day lined up for you. If you want to know anything about buying or renting in Portugal, Peter, I always enjoy talking to Peter, the Dutchman. Not so much a Flying Dutchman these days, but an illustrious corporate career when he was a Flying Dutchman, I suspect, back in the day. Now a more relaxed life, but like a coiled spring, ready to respond to your inquiries about buying and renting in Portugal. He and his lovely lady, Elise, help people as buyer's advocates over here in Portugal. And it's always good talking to Peter. Maybe Elise will be with us tonight as well. And she does tend to just listen in the background and make sure that Peter's doing everything okay. And then she'll occasionally jump in and add a little bit of excellent extra content to the already brilliant presentation that Peter will have for us tonight from 7:30. Then at 9 o'clock, we have another buy. Remember Wiley in Cascais, a Swedish expat with Swedish-American, Portuguese hybrid combo. Wiley will be joining the Expats Portugal Premium Plus folks, those who have taken the extra turbocharge and accelerator for their plans for moving to Portugal. Find out more on the homepage, expatsportugal.com, about Premium Plus. We also call it the Expats Portugal Plan, which I'm proud to say I personally lead. And it's great fun chatting with people on their exclusive Q&A from 9 o'clock in the evening. That's on a Thursday evening every week. They've got exclusive video content and their own forum as well to really focus on moving here to Portugal. So a great day lying ahead, a great show this morning ahead of us. Let's see who's in this morning in the chat. Good fun yesterday, talking to, well, after we got used to the delay with Andrew and Owen all the way up the road in Leiria. I don't know what that was about, the delay, but we worked with it and it was good fun, laced with innuendo, not like us at all. Oh dear, day 254, waiting for the IMT. the name of the new Thunderduck album, Waiting for the IMT, with a Bon dia Alegria Gumpers, a nice balanced message there. Not the not so great side of life for them here, waiting for the driving license exchange. But fair enough. Look, a Bon dia Alegria Gumpers, and a message from Philomena soon, tied up with a beautiful video that she or overlaid, not tied up. I want to give you the wrong idea. A lovely video that Philomena sent us from the Algarve on the 1st of January 2022. Can you guess what that might be? Joao F is here, saying hi to the Thunder and to everybody else this morning. How you doing? And that black sun there, I wonder what that would be when you posted it up at your end and it popped out as a black sun on our feed here, Joao F. Good morning to you. James as well. Bom dia, Gumpers. Feliz Quinte. Bem-vindos a casa. Welcome to the house. Welcome home. Hank and Konni, absolutely. Fellow Californians. For James there. The prof is in. Bon dia, peregrinos. That sounds nice. I'm not quite sure what that means, but it sounds nice. I hope it's nice. I'm sure it is if it's the prof. And he has a Today in Portuguese history for us in just a moment, featuring Cristiano. Isn't it great when you're just known by a single name? And Cristiano features in the Today in Portuguese history from the prof in just a moment. But Jandis is here. Bon dia, Gumpers. Another stormy day in Iceland. How did Jandis Jr. Get on? We need to know. You told us about the travel plans yesterday. How's it going? And the prof before the history saying hello to Holly. Just calling him Holly there. It's like being back at public school. Holly Ferreira and Duck. That does sound like a new firm of possibly lawyers. Holly Ferreira and Duck will represent you against the Supreme Court. And man cave style greetings as well, abounding in the chat. So let's go to that Cristiano influenced bit of history this morning. 2014, Portugal forward Cristiano Ronaldo wins the FIFA Ballon d'Or, the Golden Ball, his third of 5 such awards for that very gifted football player, who arguably is coming into the autumn, possibly winter of his career now. But what a legend he is. And I know that there's been a little bit more statue controversy. Do you remember that statue of him that wasn't the best likeness or even the most flattering? I mean, fair enough if it doesn't look like you, and if ever I get a gold statue or a bronze statue, I would rather it wasn't quite like his. No offense to the artist who's presumably put their heart and soul to it. I mean, they might have phoned it in, mightn't they? They might have had one lying around and just chipped it off a bit and said, there you go, there's your Cristiano, that'll be 50 million euros or whatever. But if it doesn't look like you want it to be looking better than you actually look in real life, don't you? Not worse, which I think was the problem with Cristiano's statue. And there's another one that's gone up, I believe, where's it gone up? I think it's in one of Portugal's former colonies. Forgive me for not recalling this correctly, but they're not happy because they've got their own homegrown football players, and they don't think they should have the cultural colonial imposition of the former country there. You might want to look that up. You might not. I mean, there's enough trouble in the world in that without just searching out controversial news stories. But in the news again with a controversial statue, and probably nothing to do with him directly anyway, apart from his likeness being at the centre of it all. And a Portuguese history too. Let's go from 1 to 2. The old 1-2 now, staying with football. 1759, the Duke of Aveiro, together with members of the Tavora family, are executed for high treason. But what did they do? I like what you did there, Prof. What did they do to deserve that? 1759, when executions were still the order of the day. People must have lived a little bit more on their toes in them days. Baldilocks, good morning, everyone from the Golden State. Hey up, Baldilocks, how are you this morning? And James, showing off with a bit of Portuguese here, quite right too. I ordered, pride comes before a fall, I ordered a large gas bottle yesterday, completely in Portuguese. Had my mother sat next to me. I think she was quite impressed by the boys' command of the Portuguese language. Yes, I ordered it for delivery later on, around 6 o'clock, please, and it didn't show up. So my Portuguese can't have been that good, can it? or there was, or they just didn't turn up. Waiting for a big bottle of gas to come through. We've rattled through that one last month. I thought it would last a month or two, maybe 3, but I think we did it in about sort of 4 or 5 weeks. Este un dia lindo, Ericeira hoje. Sunny and crystal clear blue sky. Este frio, a chilly 9 degrees. You're getting soft with your new Portuguese living. James Holly, that 9 degrees. I suppose, yeah, you're a Californian as well, aren't you? So that is chilly for you, to be fair. Did I get my Portuguese correct? João F will correct that for you. The Tavora, going back then to this execution, grisly matter while you're trying to have your breakfast. Tavora Affair was a political scandal of the 18th century Portuguese court triggered by the failed attempted assassination of the King of Portugal in 1758. So what happened there then? They were executed for high treason for not carrying out their own assassination attempt of the King of Portugal. My goodness, they lived on the edge, didn't they? Amazing story. I've got some pictures of Portuguese royalty for you in just a moment after I've played Filomena's video. But yes, the Portuguese royal family, amazing history. I think wherever you dip into it, there's always something of interest in the great royalty of Portugal. And great in every sense of the word, possibly. Olá, Goldilocks, but that's not what the folks of the Tavora Affair thought, obviously. Olá, Goldilocks, from another California boy. Bem-vindo. OLP is here this morning. Good morning, Gumbers. Thanks so much for the show yesterday with Andy. You know, it was fantastic. Was it an especially high point for you, OLP? I mean, it was certainly rich in content, wasn't it? Despite our slight technical delay, we had a few giggles, and I think it was information rich, and we were able to help out a few people, weren't we, with medical and culinary inquiries. Rebel Mama's here as well. Midlife Crisis World Tour. Wow, yes, talk of all these assassinations and executions. And Chris Smith is here too this morning. Yeah, and James looking forward to Hank and Konni. OLP, hello, Chris, over there. Chris Smith, remind us, where are you? I think you were East Coast, were you not? Might be wrong. And in Vegas, quite possibly, Luis Rivas. Looking forward to talking to you at some point, Luis. Hope everything's going well for you with an hola, Carl, from me. And Abu is here as well, as is Jean, as is Owen. Everyone in this morning, everyone, I tell you, as Andrew of the Portuglish of the Man Cave is very adequately pointing out for us there. Everyone, the entire Tavora family, oh no, were publicly executed, and their closest relatives in 1759. Some historians interpret the incident as the Marquis of Pombal curbing the growing powers of the old aristocracy. Well, nothing sends out a message like that, does it? The whole family and closest relatives. I mean, this is not that long ago, let's face it, in history, is it? It's grisly and grim, the way we deal with each other, even to this date, right? But some improvement in some parts of the world on that, certainly here in Portugal. Bon dia todos as well from Luis this morning. And Michelle's in from Australia. I think people are queuing up, getting ready to see that Hank and Konni are here. And a hiya, Carl, from me, especially there from OLP. Appreciate that. Go on, Carl. Now it is coming out. You better admit that you, Mrs. M, and Novak Djokovic and Prince Randy were all at Number 10's garden bringing your own bottles. Certainly not a scurrilous rumor, you scoundrel, Senor Bleach, saying things like that. Let me see now. Whose company would I want to be in there? Mrs. M's, yeah, definitely. Novak Djokovic, yes, I certainly would want to shake his hand at the moment. Prince Randy, I would rather eat my own hand than shake his, quite frankly. And I hope justice is served, I was going to say swiftly. It wouldn't be so bad if it took quite a long time, allegedly. And let's see what happens there, shall we? And an invitation from Boris Johnson. Let me see now. It's a bit like, dare I say it? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. You know, oh no, it's coming again. No, it's not. I nearly pressed it again there. Double trigger alert. If I had the choice of going out with Boris Johnson or Keir Starmer for a drink, it would probably be Boris. Not that I approve of his behavior in any way. I think well, anyway, we don't need to go into my personal opinions about Boris Johnson. I think if you're a Facebook friend of mine, you know exactly what I'm thinking, and I think this is what Pete is referring to here. But he's a colourful character who's probably way past his sell-by date now. But what are the options? That's the problem, isn't it? And it's not him. It really is. Well, it is him. I mean, I think he's a pretty. How should we describe him? Lacking in honor and impeccability. Let's put it like that. But who replaces him? And I think a lot of it, you end up with somebody like that because of the system we've got. Look what you triggered there, Pete. Okay. Andrew, Andrew, and another Andrew. Both Owen and James are shouting out there. And it looks like Villanova de Gaia, says Luis there, taking a look at the two pictures. Let's have another quick look at those, shall we? I think you might be right. It is that side of the river, isn't it? Looking back towards the glory of the great city of Porto there. So well done, Luis, on that, and Konni and Hank with us real soon. Rosemary Baker, hola, bon dia, from that aforementioned Porto there. And this day in British history, Boris had another. Allegedly, come on. Well, it's probably true indeed. You just don't know what is and isn't anymore, do we, Pete? Bon dia, Carl, checked in yesterday online as 30 days till we get to go out to the Algarve. Is it the 30 day? So was it the 30 day yesterday? Or are you checked in on, not with us, with the you can check. I didn't know that. I usually leave it to the last minute. So you check in 30 days. That's a very positive affirmation for your travel plans there. So a 30-day run up your check-in for your flight out to the Algarve. Fantastic. Pete, still talking about the prince there. I did say allegedly there, didn't I? Owen, please send a link for your house. Oh, yes. Okay. So that came up yesterday. OLP wants your details. You can stick them in the chat here if you wish. Oregonians loving Portugal might not want you to. They might want first dibs on that, or whatever your equivalent phrase is in your culture. But yes, sort it out, Owen. Might be a house sale here. You know, the usual 5% over this way, if you will. El Relinda, I remember you. Morning all from El Relinda. Where you been? Okay, and Jack Polly also here. Born de Alegria today in Portugal. It's cold. Where are you at the moment, Jack? Are you down south or are you in the Alentejo? I think on the Alentejo Plains it probably will be pretty cold if that's where you are. And Coach Turner, before we play the video, a cold day today but clear and sunny. Training, coaching this afternoon, fitness, slowly recovering. Have a great day all. My knee's still playing me up, Coach. That's my excuse. So I'm taking it easy on that, hence the slow progress. And I shouldn't be slowing everybody else down, I know that, but it certainly made an effect on me. The existing knee injury made further complicated by a fall on the sand dunes, which ripped it a little bit further. And I think detached my retina a little bit as well. And it was not a very glamorous setup. It's a bit like the zip wire. I seem to be quite sort of playground and beach line embattled at the moment. But so yes, they're not the most glamorous of injuries, but holding up the development and progress on the growing old disgracefully front there. So apologies to you, Coach. Probably got to do extra press ups for that. You don't need a statue, Carl. We know a great taxidermist, so you can be mounted somewhere appropriate. Which, of course, thank you for that open goal there, Pete, with that classic joke that my stepfather used to tell me. A chap who was very fond of his pair of chimpanzees, had them stuffed. Taxidermed, is that the right word? Taxidermized, and very fond of them, so he wanted them immortalized in that way. And the taxidermist said, would you like them mounted? And he said, no, just holding hands would probably suffice. Antonio F. Bon dia todos, and next to the Cristo Rey in Almada. Okay then. Abu from Rebel. I studied intensity about 20 years ago. Forgot it. All of it, lol. I can still read slowly, but unless it's some Quran surahs, I don't have comprehension, lol. So I think I've missed something there, but we get the gist there. Perhaps Rebel Mama's Urdu is not up to speed anymore. Bon dia, alegria. Another beautiful day in paradise. Well said, Sydney B. Thank you for returning that level of gratitude. And what is it? It's true. It's true, isn't it? We can moan about the cold. I can moan about not having a gas bottle. I can moan about whether I'm going to be holding hands or mounted in my taxidermized eternity. But let's face it, looking out the window, being here in Portugal. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? And I've actually got some a video footage of being on the beach late last night. Jimmy Choo disappeared for ages. It was a little bit of a worrying moment, but before that, the beach, the waves crashing on the beach last night in the darkness were pretty special. And I did do a little bit of video of that, which I'll bring you in just a moment. So talking of videos, let's play this one. Philomena in tomorrow, and she sent me this video, about 12 days ago. Check this out.
Olá pessoal, Philomena here. So for this week, I'm waiting for your suggestions or something that you are struggling with in your Portuguese language. I hope you give some suggestions to Carl or to me on Friday. So see you on Friday. Boa semana.
So there you have it. Personal message from Philomena. There's always something, isn't there? It certainly happens to me, where you think to yourself, I must ask Philomena about that. And then I forget what it is. And I know this month I want to know about capitals. So bon dia, should that be a capital B and a big D? When you say você to people, do you use a capital V or not? So a few things for me on capitalization, where to capitalize, where to not capitalize. Be careful about talking about capitalization and capitalism, because Konni and Hank are here. Hank's not going to like it. But that sort of capitalization on letters and grammatically speaking. Don't worry, guys, not got you on until 9 o'clock. Have a little sip of coffee there, enjoying the virtual pastel donatas and coffees in the green room there. No, they're not. He's drinking neat gin from an old glass in the Airbnb. No, he's not really. He's iced tea. Iced tea is what Hank's got in his hair this morning. There's enough scurrilous rumors flying around. We don't need any more. A very beautiful language, says Rebel Mama to Abu. My son's dad is Al Misriya, and when my son speaks, he has an Egyptian accent. He has had tutoring for several years and thinks he knows nothing, but it's in his brain. Okay, thank you for that, Rebel Mama. I bet it does sound amazing. Bon dia todos from Pedro Gomes. Pedro's here as well. Let's all lick the like button. Let's all lick the like button. La la. Did I just say lick the like button? That won't be necessary. Just hitting it will be fine, or smashing it. If you want to lick the like button, that's your business, but it's not what I'm necessarily asking for. Now we mostly assassinate character. I guess that's something of an improvement, isn't it, James, that we don't actually kill our political opponents anymore. I say we collectively. I don't suppose any of you have killed a political opponent here. I certainly hope not, in this community. We've moved on, haven't we, from assassinating people physically to assassinating their character. I think you're right. And maybe we'll move on from that, and in time to come, we'll think to ourselves, do you remember that character assassination of the 2000s? Wasn't it primitive, those times back then? And we'll have moved on, hopefully. West Coast, and found better ways to communicate with each other and share or learn to live with our differences and live in harmony in some way without all this sort of malarkey that's going on. West Coast, retired in September. Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Chris. It's the West Coast, not the East. Sold our home in California in December, in Washington for a family visit, planning a trip to Portugal in March. Maybe that's where my confusion came from. Great to have you here, Chris. Thank you for explaining yourself there. Not that you had to, and almost positive. You'll love it there, says James, speaking from his own experience there. Randy can join the island where Jeffrey and Ghislaine are hiding. There more scurrilous rumors this morning. That poor guy didn't even know he was at a party. Yeah, and it's a terrible work party, isn't it? It's a terrible party if you think you're at work, is what I should say there. No one really believing a word of it. Let's see how that shakes down. and sorry for those of you non-Brits, or those of you who are non-Brits who don't have a keen eye on what's going on in the UK at the moment, but it's down to a civil servant deciding if any wrongdoing has taken place. Now, can you imagine being that non-elected civil servant, having that sort of power in your hands at the moment? I don't suppose Sue Gray slept especially well last night. The Tavora Affair also led to the Jesuit order being implicated and outlawed in 1761. All its estates were confiscated and all Jesuits were expelled from Portuguese territory, both in Europe and the colonies. Wow, where did they go, I wonder? Were they able to, was it one of these deals where they were actually sort of, is the word routed and disgraced, or were they just able to open up shop elsewhere pretty rapidly, as sometimes happens with this? The faces change, or the outward appearance changes, but behind the seats of power are unaffected. I wonder if it was like that. Laura P, good morning. All gumps. It says, I'm going to extend that to gumpers so that it doesn't sound or look like gimps. Carl, I was in Portugal, back in Finland now. Oh, I see. So you didn't need to tune in because you're actually here. Now you're keeping your Portuguese pilot light lit by tuning back in. Now you're back in Finland. Great to have you back with us here on the community, and in the comments there, Elra. Thank you very much, and a happy new year to you. Great to see you back. It would make a good BBC costume drama. Don't worry, it's coming, isn't it? I mean, they're making a dramatization of Jimmy Savile, so expect that one soon. Dad. Jack, yes, that's his reaction every time I say Jack Polly. James there thinking about his his father. Are you a little accident prone, Cole? No, I don't see myself in any way. Quite the opposite, actually. But in the last little while, showing off on the zip wire and banging my face on the metal, and running around on the sand dunes and falling over and bending my already injured knee backwards. And I think I was getting that slight flaring on one of my eyes, which I think came when my bonds must have hit the sand as well in that little incident there, running about with my eldest in the sand dunes at Salida de Porto. But a little that's three things, isn't it? I think there, and that's enough. These things can come in threes, and I'm going to draw a line there and go back to my non-accident-prone self. But thank you for asking, OLP. Bon dia from Jersey P. Jersey P's in, and Deagle telling us he did 15 minutes. Who else? Hola, bon dia, Gumpers. I hope you had a great birthday yesterday, Chris. The Jazz Funk Faja de Dia, Bobby Caldwell. Everyone knows this tune, even if they don't see themselves as a jazz funker. I think this has come up on a movie or in a chill out mixtape or whatever. But What You Won't Do for Love, a great tune, and I know it was somebody did a cover of that, didn't they? In the last little while, a more modern performer, but that's a good one and a great classic. Bobby Caldwell, probably dating back to the late 70s there for the jazz funk track of the day there. And Paolo Coimbra, I do beg your pardon. Paolo Coimbra is here. Bon dia. Are you stood near Luso or Bosaco there, Paolo? Looks like you are stood with your back to the great plains of central Portugal there. Am I right with that guess there? Before we go to Hank and Konni in Porto, I've got to show you these pictures, see if you can guess where I was yesterday. My goodness, this first half hour has absolutely flown by. Got a few to share with you now. Sent these to myself on WhatsApp. That's how I tend to do it. Oh, and in Alcobaça, you've got to feature the confectionery as well. Tried out Alcoa yesterday, which is the most beautiful deli cafe, not deli, patisserie, pasteleria, possibly padaria as well. I tried that in Alcobaça. I've given it away wherever I was yesterday. We tried out a place called Alcoa, which is a clue to where we were yesterday. On the river Alcoa. Town takes its name from that, just in case you didn't hear me mess it up just now. Alcoa, the name of the pasteleria, near the Praça, in front of the great tourist attraction there, where you can sit, watch the world go by, and it was fantastic to sit out yesterday. In January, in the Portuguese winter, there we were eating lovely confections, not unlike this one that I'm about to bring to your screen now. Check this out, a little cheesecake for you to kick things off in the foreground, and a great pasteleria. It's like a tunnel of sweetness that you go into. It's quite a long, thin shop with some of the most delightful sweets, basically. It's all pretty much sweet stuff in there. We were able to get torrada and tosta mista to break up the sweetness a little bit with a little bit of savory, but the kids enjoyed such treats as you can see on your screen there, of course. So where was I? Here's the first picture, and we're going back again to the Portuguese royalty. I thought the light on this was absolutely superb. Look at that. A rather ill-fated female player in the Portuguese royalty, the stories of the Portuguese royalty, and there her love on the other side of this great monument, and a long shot of that beautiful light. You see that? It was the way the light that was coming in to the mosteiro there, really beautiful, and a shot looking from the back of the mosteiro down to the front. What an amazing building. Alcobaça. Of course, if you guessed that in the chat, you got that absolutely right. Amazing day, or just an afternoon actually in Alcobaça yesterday. Really, really good. Great things to eat, great things to see, and incredible atmospheres to take in there inside the. Mosteiro does mean monastery. I'm hesitating because I'm not sure if I've got that right as the correct name for that. Marvelous architecture building there in Alcobaça. But a couple more comments before we go to Hank and that's a great comment, OLP. Before we go to Hank and Konni, I'm not going to read any more about that chap. Bon dia from Silver Coast volunteers on the Silver Coast. Paolo not letting us know just yet where that picture was taken. Fine picture it is too. But over here on the Silver Coast, Paolo, just in the neighborhood here. So, and Wendy as well, welcoming Wendy to the neighborhood too. OLP, this is great advice, everybody. If you're ever chased by a taxidermist, don't play dead. Very good. You get the best advice here on the Good Morning Portugal show. Thunder telling us that with a Bon Dia, my Firefox crashed right before the show started and still doesn't work. I had to install Epic browser to get here today. Wonder what that's all about. Is the Good Morning Portugal live stream capable of breaking Firefox? Maybe that's what happened. And quando omni fluncus moritati, when all else fails, play dead. But obviously, as said before, not when you're anywhere near a taxidermist. Okay, hold on a minute. Even outside, in a way, even outside, because I take my snow gear in Portugal. Snow gear would be too hot. So it sounds like Elra's been doing a bit of winter sports activity over there in Finland. Back in Finland and not bringing that tackle over here to Portugal. But you can go to the Serra da Estrela, can't you? But you can probably rent boots up there in the place where it sometimes snows and where you can ski in Portugal, of course. Bon dia, Carl, and everyone. So good to be back, says Mick. Good to have you back, Mick. I'm not reading those out, Andy and Pete. You carry on, you two rascals there. Let's go to Porto, I think now, and welcome our dear friends onto the screen. Konni and Hank, good morning to you. It's all right, I can do that.
Hey, Carl, how you doing, brother? Good to see you again.
I'm really well. If you do want to get cozy, we can have that shot. Oh,
we've been married for 26 years. That's a little too cozy, isn't it? I mean,
oh, come on. I saw your lovely, playful pictures last night. You look like a couple of honeymooners having fun in Porto last night. Is that where you are still?
Yes, we're in Porto.
Oh, okay. And when we've talked before, I know that Hank wants you to be there on a more permanent basis in Porto. I don't think, Konni, you were quite so sure. Did you want to do a little bit of exploring in other parts? Where are we with that right now?
Well, this trip was more about going out into the outside the metro lines, to take the metro lines to the end in various areas and just see. We don't think we want to be in Porto per se. Yeah. So we've been all around the metro and out walking neighborhoods.
Oh, okay. So Porto it is then, but it's going to be within the realms of or the environs or suburbs of Porto. That's what you've narrowed your search down to.
At the moment, yes. Both
at
of us.
the moment, there you go. At the moment.
Well, every time we go somewhere, we're like, "Ooh, we kind of like this too." But
of course you do, and that's what we do here, isn't it? And so let's rewind back a bit. How and when did this all start? I mean, a lot of people do know you here because you've been so giving and keeping people up to date with your journey, because it's so helpful to others on the forum at expatsportugal.com/community. But there will be people who see this who are not familiar with you and your journey. So when did you first get switched on to Portugal, and what happened thereafter?
Well, Hank started the research pre-COVID and then used COVID to do a deep dive. And then we came in the summertime last year and went all over the country on the trains, buses, metros. Mostly the western coastal side. We didn't go a lot inland, but we went up and down and sideways. So that was our first foray.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we went from one end of the country to the other, from Tavora up to Braga. And we're just taking public transit and staying in all kinds of different places, just exploring it for a month because of the advice that you'd given. You know, if you're going to make this move, you got to come, you got to spend time. And 2 weeks isn't enough. And so we came originally with the idea of, let's see if there's anything here that screams at us saying, you're dumb for trying to do this.
Yeah.
And we failed miserably in that regard. So that tons of people moved, saw a lot of the country, but only a very small part still. A month's not enough.
Yeah.
It's just, and you're also right. And I think I might have mentioned this before when we were here, that it's dangerous. It's a dangerous country in that whenever you go to a new place, you're like, no, I love it here.
Yes.
No. You think you're settled, but then you go somewhere else, you're like, no. I want to be here now.
Yeah.
So you people who buy a place, you know, sight unseen or something, you come and you're just like, I'm going to be there in Porto. It's going to be fantastic. You're crazy, man. Because as soon as you go to like Garciata, you're like, no, I want to be here. You know, then you're like, oh, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to buy another house. What? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, don't worry, because there are loads of people coming and people will probably buy your house from you.
That's true.
And that's not to say that original place isn't fantastic, is it? It's just that your head gets turned, as you say. And I do call it San Martino de Porto syndrome. This thing of, you know, every new place you go to, pretty much, you think, actually, we could live here. And then, you know, it happens again and again, over and over. I suppose it wouldn't be like that for Portuguese people necessarily. But I'm sure the likes of João and Antonio will tell us and maybe remark upon how we see that and what that's like for us. And you're right. I mean, even though that's happening week after week, we still haven't scratched the surface at all, have we?
No, not at all. I mean, you know, 6 weeks we're going on here now, and we've seen new places, met new people, and everywhere it's in one sense it's the same in that the Portuguese people, it's almost a trope at this point. But everywhere we go, and I think I told you some funny stories last time where I just run up to random people and talk to them, and they're like, "Who the hell is this guy?" And then we're best friends in like 30 seconds after that. It's holding true. It's the holding stable. It's crazy. It's like the best place ever, best people ever.
I wanted to ask you about that because I do remember. I think you walked into a university and you got chatting with a waitress, and these are all people who became friends very quickly when we spoke last time. Who else then has been added to the list and is now on the ever-growing Christmas card list or equivalent?
Well, we actually went into some caves down in Leiria and met a gal there, a French woman, who turned us on to a great walking tour here in Porto. And she gave us the tour guide's name and everything and told us to go see him. And we did. And he was amazing. Fount of knowledge. So we met her just randomly. We've met other people we went on the boat tour, went down and saw the 6 bridges of Porto and learned the history of them and heard a couple English speakers. So got to talking to them. We've went into a couple shops where there was no English spoken.
Yeah, we took that advice. You know, I think Gary said it. You know, you go into the places, and I think you have too. You go in the places where nobody speaks English, and it's all Portuguese people
eating. So
right? Because you know that's where the food's going to be awesome. And they're like these nondescript little places where you're just like, whatever. You know, you're thinking there's nothing special about this. Not tourist trappy places, just where the local workers go on their lunch break. You go in there, if it's packed, you know it's going to be good.
Yes.
And it's humbling too, because we ate at this place in Via Nova de Gaia yesterday, which was just like that, right? And
we thought it was a store. I mean, it didn't look like food until you actually stepped in and, oh, it's a restaurant.
Yeah, you go in there and, you know, I was feeling pretty good. I'm like, hey, I'm talking to Portuguese people. I know what I'm doing. I can say hola and bom dia, you know. And Foi muito bom. I'm like, I know 5 words. I got this down. You walk in there, and then they start talking to you, and they don't speak English. You're like, okay, I'm very humble. I'm not used to that as an American. I have to be a little small. And go, okay, please help me. It's fantastic.
They had pictures.
Yeah,
so we're like, Coca-Cola.
Mais cerveja, por favor. I know that one, and that works well.
Funny that, isn't it? The things that get etched in our memory. But I'm very glad you've got that survival skill sorted. I love those places, and I was trying to recommend one yesterday to somebody who's just turned up in San Martin de Porto, and I was looking for it on Google Maps, and it hasn't got a name. It's exactly the sort of place. It's a street number. And you go to Google Maps, and there's a picture of it with all the seats outside, and it's clear. I mean, this one you can see it's a restaurant, but it's beautiful. In how unassuming it is, with fluorescent strip lighting, very basic tables and chairs, and great food. The emphasis is on feeding people well, and people having a good time going in, standing at the counter, having a coffee, reading the papers, maybe having a cheirinho, a little snifter in the morning. And this a beautiful part of Portuguese life, which we're privileged to be able to go in and sample a part of. Now, you have done a little bit of a tour then, and you've I wouldn't say rejected is too strong, isn't it? You've preferred some places over others. What is it? Let's cause some trouble this morning. What is it about Porto? For those people who've settled on the Algarve or the Silver Coast, why should they think about Porto now? And what is it you two love about it so much that's taking you back there?
I'll go first.
Well, it's specific for us in the sense that we have a plan, and when we come here, we want to be able to travel in Europe, and I need to go back to the States periodically. So the airport is key. That's not key for everyone.
I'm very thirsty, apparently.
So getting near the airport's not going to be for everyone. Porto, it's weird, but spoke to us sounds flighty, but it did. We both really enjoyed our experiences here and our time here. And other cities, while we enjoyed the beauty or the this or the that, they didn't speak to us.
They did, but not as loudly. Not as loudly, I would say.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of different places.
You can say things like that here on the Good Morning Portugal live stream. We're not going to judge you in any way using what did you call it? Flighty turns of phrase like that. It happens, doesn't it? We are energetic beings as well as everything else we are, and I think that sort of thing does work. So, and for you, Hank, then Porto. I mean, that was fairly early on. It was right for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's these practical concerns like Konni talks about in terms of being able to get around. It's kind of the central place, I guess, of northern Portugal and being able to get easy access to the rest of Europe and things. But as people who are going to be learning the language, it's scary. It can be intimidating for people, although it shouldn't be. Now that we've been here a couple times, I'm completely over that. But there's the practical aspects. Is if you need help on something, if you need to go to this particular store, or you need to get here,
a specific thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bigger town, so you have more options. And there's always someone who can't speak English if you get in trouble, and that's kind of a problem because if you want to learn Portuguese, you go to a Portuguese person, and if they're in a rush and you're trying to speak Portuguese to them, they're just like, "Let's get it going here, buddy. We got a line," But when we came the last time in summertime, it was my first time I'd ever been to Europe. Konni had been several times, and my second favorite place in all of Portugal is Porto, because when I got off of the Campanha, São Bento train station, and we walked out, and I just saw the architecture, the history, the beauty, and all that. My jaw was just dropped, and I was just stunned, going, looking dumbfounded. And Connie's kind of like, I've been here before. She's like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Can we get this going along? Can we get moving? And I'm just like, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that.
He was dumbstruck, but it is a beautiful city when you come. And that train station is amazing too.
Some of the views over the Douro River. I'll fight anybody who says it's not beautiful because you're just wrong, But that's all of Portugal, though, isn't it? I mean,
you'd like to live here.
Yeah, everywhere you go, it's beautiful. But living here, it's easy to get around. Everyone's really relaxed. It's a lot like where we're from back home, I think, is what people say. The attitudes, the weather, that sort of thing. It's close to San Francisco, and it's a great place. It just feels comfortable. It feels very homey.
Good. And the terror you spoke of earlier, what you had a real worry about not being able to speak the language, did you?
Well, for me, it's just, you want to be a good guest, and you want to be able to come and integrate, and you want to be able to, just be a good member of the local community, right? And so, it wasn't as terrifying for us, I guess, maybe from San Francisco, because we have people from all over the world, just like here in Portugal. Porto's an international city, Lisbon's an international city, Portugal's an international country. I mean, there's people from everywhere. And so we're comfortable like that. But, when you go into a place and you don't speak the language,
It's intimidating.
It can be a little intimidating, because you're kind of like, I'm out of my element. I'm out of my comfort zone. Right. But it's like I've said before in the forums and in the chats, you have to give yourself permission to fail if you're going to grow. Right.
So
People
true.
are afraid to fail. They don't take chances. They don't take risks. But and I've said this before, within about 30 seconds, you realize that any language barrier, it doesn't matter. The Portuguese are so accommodating, and they're so willing. They're so friendly. They're just like, and we were talking to a guy last night at one of our favorite restaurants here. And he's like, look, man, I was in your place because, I was born in Portugal, and then I went and lived in England for 10 years. And I had to go through the exact same thing. So he's like, we love it when you try. We love it that you're giving an effort, and it's sincere. We're just,
And you're going to do things incorrect. He loves to say bon dia in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And people are like, boa tarde.
Yeah, they're like, now, boa tarde. Stupid of it. But whatever.
It does. Yeah, I mean, because I guess you're thinking, you're saying good day, which is, is fine, isn't it? In other parts of the world, but that's quite important, I think, to get and then, just when you think you've got boa tarde sorted, you should be saying boa noite, perhaps. But then that's lifelong learning, I think, and you've got plenty of time to do that. And this thing about not having a vehicle as well, your own vehicle, as it were, I think is of interest to people. Porto being chosen because of a great public transport system. Can you say more about that, your experience, and you're choosing not to have a car? Is that right?
At least initially, yeah. Our plan still is to come here for a year, try to sort out work situations, and live here for a year and stuff. And for sure, during that time, no car. As we move forward and we stay here more permanently, that could change. But at the moment, the public transit is amazing, and we use public transit a lot at home, so we're really accustomed and okay with it.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy too, because if you're Americans watching this, first off, if you're American watching this and you're from our area, San Francisco Bay Area, and you ever want to get together, have supper, you want to talk, we've done that several times back home. I think I mentioned that to you, Carl, because everyone's been so nice to us and so welcoming, accommodating, helpful. We're paying it forward. So anybody out there, reach out to us on the forums. We'll be happy to help you in any way that we can. But something else that's going to sound crazy to Americans is that, because America's huge, right? It's ginormous. You can't do anything without a car, right? After World War II, America built for the car, and Europe built for public transportation. You don't need a car here unless you're getting out into the more rural areas. Yeah. I mean, unless you're on a time schedule, but it's Portuguese time. Nobody's on a time schedule. So it's not really, time is relative here. You can get around. We went from one end of the country to the other, from the southernmost part near the border of Spain up as far north as Braga when we were here the first time. And even now, when we're here the second time, we took public transit everywhere.
We've gone up on all the metro lines.
Metros, the different trains.
All the way out.
Yeah.
And it might take 20, 30, 40 minutes. So, maybe living there and doing that daily is not going to be a thing. But it's totally doable. The trains are on time. They're clean.
The metros in the cities too, both in Lisbon and Porto. I mean, they're fantastic. I mean, we don't have anything like that back where we live. It's crazy. It puts BART to shame. Those of you who know what BART is,
Yeah. I
you don't have to.
And great value as well, good value, and what a brilliant way to see the country. I mean, you're not caught up in trying to find out where you're going. So, in a different way perhaps, but you're not looking at GPS. You're not freaking out and having the stress of that. You can really engage with where you are, can't you? I think when you're using public transport.
Yeah, and just give yourself enough time.
We did find out that they do the metro, I don't think they're police security. They do check your card, so don't try to just sneak on.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The first time we were here, the
we
first
broke
day,
the law. Don't tell anybody.
we put our money in, we did our thing, we did our card, we got a receipt. At least something fell down, so we picked it up. But we're supposed to have a ticket, not a receipt.
Yeah.
So we get on the and we're looking around and we're like, we're the only one holding a white piece of paper. Everyone else either has a ticket or. So thankfully, we didn't know about the security thing that first trip, and we got off it as soon as we could, and we went and figured out because we assumed it was incorrect. Almost every trip after that, the security guys come by and scan your card.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like
broken the law.
The penalty is like it's like €100 or something like that too for being on there without a ticket.
Because it's like the honor system to get on, but then they check to make sure you're actually abiding by the rules. So we would have totally broken the rules on our first trip unintentionally.
Unintentionally, well, that's the worst way to happen, isn't it? But that's a nice tip for everybody else. Yeah, don't if you think you're used to where you come from, maybe having the odd trip at the expense of all the other taxpayers. Don't try that, and it's not expensive. I mean, that's the other thing. It's not worth it, is it?
It's cheap.
It's not worth breaking the law. No.
Yeah. You can go from one end of the metro to the other. Most trips for like, I don't know, what it was like €6 round trip,
less,
something like that. Yeah, or less. I mean, it's €1.50 to go from one zone to the other. It's cheap.
Perfect.
It's
Perfect.
great.
And the Porto metro goes way out as well, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, all the way up the coast, almost to the border of Spain. It's crazy, and I wanted to do that, and I was like, no, that's too far.
No, we have a plan here. Let's not do the one that.
Yes, Spain looks good. I will come back to that because I know you want to travel in other parts of Europe. Let's talk about that a little bit later. But we do have some greetings and questions coming in. Hank, did you give Joel the present? This is very personal service here. How was the meeting with Joel? Now, in case you don't know Joel, we don't see him so much on the breakfast show, but he is an institution when it comes to the man cave, right? And there he is with pithy insights, about Portuguese life. He's a very plain-speaking Porto kind of guy, tripe-eating Porto kind of guy. I mean that metaphorically, not actually. Always swearing. How is he? How was he? What was it like meeting up with Joel?
Okay, first off, we haven't given him the present yet because we were seeing him again, and we haven't seen him yet since we've seen Maddie.
Yeah. So sorry, mate. We're on our way. We're gonna get down to him.
Okay.
When you met him.
Oh yeah. How was meeting Joel? Well, we had been talking. I had been talking with him off and on for the past, I don't know, months. It seems, it's been a while, and just like with Andy and tons of other people, and it always surprises me just how much more amazing. They're already amazing people when you're chatting.
When you're reading, right?
When you're reading back and forth, emails, stuff. But then when you meet with these amazing people in person, it just takes it to a whole nother level of surpassing your expectations.
Yes. And
with Joel, he has been so gracious and so accommodating. It's almost I don't know if embarrassing is probably not the right word, but he's just so incredibly kind. Awesome. It's so unexpected and so incredibly appreciated. And what I love about so many people in the community, and I've said this to many of them, is that what I love about them is that I have a chance to learn from them, right? And I've been reading a lot of philosophy lately, and one thing that I came across was that you're the average of the 5 people that you hang out with. And so we've been adding all of these beautiful people into our lives. So our average is going up, but unfortunately for them, I'm bringing their average down. So you guys got to keep teaching me some things so that way I can help. But anyway, so Joel, he offered to pick us up. We had lunch with him. He taught me a lot of stuff about Portugal, Portuguese people, gave me some insights, which I thought I knew, but I didn't quite know. And man, what just a valuable, I don't want to say resource because that kind of objectifies him, but a good friend. The kind of person who's saying, he's got that beautiful heart that all the Portuguese people that we've ever interacted with have, and just to say, look, you're welcome here. Here's how it is, and here's kind of how we do things. Here's a little bit of our history, and I could just sit there. And I told him this. I said I could just sit here, buy you a beer, and I would just listen all day long to get a better understanding of the reality of the culture and the country and what it's like. So he was amazing. We hung out with him and James. We're going to be hanging out with them again. We have a little bit of time towards the end of the trip. And I can't confirm when he talks about Erosira being like Santa Cruz. Can't confirm. It's got that vibe.
Oh, man,
it's beautiful. As a fellow Californian, he knows exactly what the heck he's talking about. He's a great individual too.
We got there and it was completely sunny, gorgeous. We got great pictures, walked to the beach. The next day was pouring down rain. It's like, hey, we got the best of both worlds because we didn't go walking in the rain, but we could have. So we saw the ocean completely sunny and the ocean completely not. So it was great. It was a beautiful place.
So it's so wonderful that you're connecting with people like this, and and vice versa. You're also, I use the word advisedly again, Hank, as you did, but you're an incredible resource to other people. And going back to that word, how is it talking to Joel? This idea, it is embarrassing. It's embarrassing for us, isn't it, to see what we've become in a way that Portuguese folk is just really kind and giving. And like, you just think to yourself, it's embarrassing because like, what happened to us that we would want to make a business of this, or we haven't got the time to be like this or whatever. So it is embarrassing, but the embarrassment is ours alone, I think.
Well, can I give you two more quick little stories on that too? I think a good word is inspiring.
Yeah,
is inspiring because the people in this community, like everybody, Portuguese people too, especially. It's a whole nother level of giving because there's a joy that's in this community. And I think I've said this before in the forums and stuff, is that people have their differences, but at some point they leave them at the door. Whatever the politics may be, if you're vax, anti-vax, whatever, people can sit there and they can say, okay, look, we have this shared love here. And at the end of the day, it's a love of the country and this feeling that we all have, and we can coalesce around that. And that's fantastic. But when the first time we were here in Porto, talking about the generosity and the inspiration of the goodness of there's this love here, right? Of Portuguese people. We got an Uber ride from Antonio. He's a 64-year-old Portuguese guy who's been driving. We talked with him, and when he dropped us off, he's like, "Look, if you need anything, if you want suggestions, if you need me to give you a ride somewhere, if you're lost." You need me to
just
translate.
Want a restaurant?
Yeah, if you just want whatever, here's my number. Boom.
Gave us his WhatsApp.
Connie, of course, immediately lost it because she doesn't know.
It took me an hour. I got it all put in my phone and went to hit save, and I don't know anyway. Yeah. Anyway, but the point was, it was
very giving. Didn't have to do that, right?
Yeah, right.
And just an average guy helping out some average people from America, right? Our Airbnb host, I started talking with her, and we got back and forth. We talked for like an hour. And she was just like, yeah, if you guys need anything, I'm here for you. Welcome to the country. We hope everything works out well. Oh, by the way, I'm selling a house. Would you be interested? And we were like, if we were here in a year and a half, if it was the time was right, yeah, it would be perfect. And so
it's in the right area. It's the right size. It's like, oh my gosh, it's made for us, but we're not quite there yet.
So I told her, I said, we have a couple of friends, a couple of people that are coming who might be interested in it. So we hooked them up. So we were wheeling and dealing. We're into real estate now. And so they're talking, and they might buy the host's house. So we'll see what comes of that. So, but I mean, she just out of nowhere though. Sophia was her name, is the host here, and she's just like, whatever you need, we're happy to help, and we're glad that you're here.
Yeah, she said, keep my contact number, even when you're not in my Airbnb. Number. You can call me when you're back in country or something.
Yep. When you're back, we'll have dinner or whatever. Where do you get that kind of outpouring of support and love and
from virtual strangers?
From strangers, it's consistent,
isn't it? Because we go on about it, don't we? Like, it's amazing, and I think and Portuguese people are so modest about it. It's like, well, why wouldn't we be like that? So we don't want to embarrass anybody or make too much of a big deal, but it has to be said at the same time. Yep, absolutely.
It's appreciated.
Yep. We have greetings, we have questions, and we have catching up to do from other threads that were set running earlier on. If you ever watched the beautiful movie The Mission with De Niro and Jeremy Irons, the 1986 movie, that's in part about the power play between the Marquis de Pombal and the Jesuits. I do love it when I see an old movie in a new light, and I will watch that with that in mind. So thank you very much for that, Prof. And Chris, happy birthday. I mentioned it was Chris's birthday yesterday. He sent in a picture of what he looks at. This is how he dresses up when he's booking airline tickets to come to Portugal. Apparently. He's got a special outfit for. Yes, be still, my beating heart. So happy birthday from OLP. Andy sending greetings as well for yesterday there. And yes, get those tickets booked. We need to see you again soon there. Chris, Rebel Mama, I may do a trip somewhere in Portugal and just go to every pastelaria and eat natas. Yeah, you could spend the rest of your life doing that. And yes, Carl, where were those statues, natas? That was Alcobaça, of course. Sorry if I didn't make that clearer earlier on. And there she is. That is Ines, the ill-fated love of Pedro, who you see in this picture. And that is Alcoa, which is one of the pastelerias I would recommend, that where you can sit and take in the splendor of Alcobaça. A nice little maracuja passion fruit cheesecake there. So Alcobaça, that was. Have you guys been to Alcobaça yet?
No, not yet. But it's another one of those things, right? There's always something new, right? Where you hadn't heard of something, or you'll meet somebody and they'll say, "Oh, have you been here?"
Yes. Yeah.
There's another thing we have to go see. You never have enough time.
Please put that on your list. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah.
Mosteiro does mean monastery, so okay, my hesitancy was unwarranted there. Let me know if you come to Albufeira from Laura, Peter, Rebel Mama, and I will bring you to a very fine, good cake shop. This is what we're talking about, this community here, and we're redefining things. Because what came to mind, Hank, when you were talking there about the philosophy of, the sum of the parts of the five people you know, etc., and the average. And you said, we've got political differences here, but they're left at the door. So often human beings, it's in human nature, isn't it, to have sort of blitz spirit or unite against something. And here we are uniting for something, which is a very positive reframe on that bit of human nature. And also, I would further that and say, there's another tactic or a mechanism in human affairs of divide and rule. And we're turning that around as well, aren't we? We're uniting. And I suppose what's the opposite of ruling, sort of letting be? We're uniting and letting each other be. So 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10 to the community here for reframing those things. Yeah. And thanks for bringing that up there, Hank. That's brilliant. I also like ótimo. So James is sharing his favorite Portuguese words, ótimo, and I use ipa as well. I know it's a little bit different, but once you've mastered a certain level of Portuguese and culture, ipa in the conversation, I think, is warranted and meaning great. But on Netflix, it always translates as merely good. No, that needs an upgrade, doesn't it? I'm with you on that. And Abu to Rebel Mama, I know for the longest time I mixed up como estás with the formal one, como está. So lots of vocab and linguistic insight today. We'll carry that on with Philomena tomorrow. Beautiful pictures, Carl. That light was terrific. Yeah, it was a special day in the monastery yesterday. From Jersey P, then. Bon dia, alegria, Hank. Konni, tudo bem?
How you doing, brother? Good to see you, Conrad.
And others. Look, this is not to exclude you. This is a. I think. Oh, you get one as well. But this is what the man cave have imprinted themselves on modern communication in this way, haven't they? Bon dia, honey and Hank.
Oh, we know that story.
Yeah, that's the story. Yeah.
All right. So should we leave that there? You know what that means. That's for Leona, isn't it? Bon dia. I've got a lovely picture of. I needed permission from everybody. It was you two, and the Doc and Leona and Matty. Beautiful picture where you guys all met up as well. Yep. Mark from Norfolk in the UK. Bon dia from him to us. And bon dia to you from Michelle in Australia, and from Pedro as well, and from Abu, and Hank and Konni. I haven't been to the Silver. What? You haven't yet, have you? You're working on it. Okay.
Yeah. We're working on it.
We hope to see you here and turn your head yet again. Liking new places you discover here is too easy. Yes.
Absolutely. Very true.
Bordering on a medical condition. Braga, shout out to Braga from Rafael there, of course. And Braga is at the other end of the country.
Well, when you came from Tavora, it kind of was. Yeah. But
yeah. But there's an extra little bit, the Peneda Gerês. That'll be another head-turning adventure up there. There's nothing wrong with using ótimo. It's perfectly correct, and it is interpreted as great. Hank, research, color, be surprised. Is that a reference to you and your rigorousness in life?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I think so.
If he's not asleep, he's researching. So,
reading,
Okay,
data-driven.
the scientific mind that we've come to know and love. And you are Yoda wise.
Ooh.
How about that?
Take
Would
that.
you like to
I'll
respond
take
to
it,
that? What you say? Indeed, I am. What I am indeed.
Wise I am.
Wise I am. That's
Indeed.
what I was trying to reach for there. Wise I am
Yeah.
indeed. There you go.
Like wisdom he has.
From Gary. Not me. I came with my D7 visa sight unseen. So some people do it.
Braver, much braver than that.
And it worked for you too.
Yeah, it was beautiful. That's a beautiful
It really
story.
has, isn't it? It really has. Yeah. Ottimo you can use up there in the north. Yeah, here in the north, people use Ottimo all the time. A nice thing to have in your vocabulary. Good morning, Alice. Sorry I'm late. Better late than never. Absolutely, Jim, from Germany this morning. And we're catching up. Joao F. Good morning, Konni and Hank. Just joined in shortly to say hello this morning. Dad joke warning. If Portugal had seen me coming, it might not have approved my D7 car. Ooh. I haven't travelled around Portugal everywhere, but we are so happy with our first choice. Again, people settling down where they felt it right to be, and it spoke to them remotely. Also, we moved here sight unseen mid-COVID, not crazy, just how we roll. Life is an adventure. That's right. There we go.
Good job.
It's the people that make the place. Andrew Gilchrist quoting himself there, but quite rightly, I think. And we don't hear this, do we? Of all the great things that are said about Portugal, I think people do say it's the people, but we don't have a really great motto or phrase like that, which would be so true and so right and a good thing to share with the world. Wise you are, Andy, deep like kiddie pool. He must know you well enough to say something like that. I think I'm going to do sight unseen too, says Abu, because of my bad back. I can't go and look around, but I might send my brother to check the apartments first. He lives in France. Well, there's a good gig. Others might want to put themselves forward for that job, searching the country for Abu. I think I'll put myself forward for that. Sounds like a great job. Hi, Konni and Hank. Welcome from the OLP. And Raf, you'll get into trouble. We know that about Raf, don't we? Never far from trouble, I think, up there in Braga. Hank, Konni, have you tried my present? Did you like it? So
it didn't last very long.
No,
it was amazing.
No. If there's food in the house, I eat it. So I think she got like one cookie out of it.
Oh, I snagged two before he took two.
She sold two. She actually, it was delicious, man. Thank you so much. And it was great meeting you, sir. And I hope to see you again.
The German or the Dutch? Did he treat you to, or both?
It was I think it was German.
I ate it so fast that I'm not sure.
I took a picture of it. I think it was German.
Yeah. The crumbs. Got a picture of the crumbs on the table.
Before we ate it.
Yep.
Oh, here's another good phrase. Conta Costa is the other word I mastered when in Portugal. When you're paying for those beers, you know how to order now. I found out the other day that Alfazara has the largest concentration of Portuguese native oaks in the whole country, which explains why the forests here are so lovely. Great walks all around. The oak, again, this is the wisest of the trees, is it not? And Alviagra boasting a great concentration of them. My only choice is Lisboa, says Abu, because of the airport and the medical services and all the culture offers. You will not be disappointed, I think, there. Queria is my current and most used word right now. Yes, I would like. Very good. Thank you for all of this. All very helpful, everyone chipping in with the lingo this morning. And Jandis, thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member this morning. Much appreciated. That's fantastic. Thank you. Bon dia all from Oregon. Pammy's here. 2 more weeks.
Congrats.
Move another countdown that we can share. We'll get you on the screen on a Thursday. Let's do that because we love to have these first-hand testimonies of coming to Portugal and the love of the place. Lisbon is really cool. Yes, has everything. Rebel to Abu there. Gary, wow, about the Oaks. I can only imagine the energy. Cindy B, road trip. We're going to head up there at some point. Hank, Konni, it's great that you're coming over at a different time of the year. Josh and Kaylee, of course, love Porto too. Have you met up with expats everywhere?
Actually, not so much here in Porto, but we did before we got to Porto. Met up with Doc and Leona and James and Joao and Maddie.
Yeah. We're
Sorry.
on this trip.
I'm referring to Josh and Kaylee, known as expats everywhere. Do you know those two guys?
No.
They're
Oh no. Oh, I know of whom you're talking about. I know exactly who you were talking about, but we haven't. And we followed them on their videos, and they have a ton of useful information. And there's a lot of YouTubers out there that you can get tons of information. And something that I find that's very fascinating and very, I don't know, maybe heartwarming is not the right word, but I know you've done some collaboration with other hosts, and I've watched them and they've been fantastic. But it's that same spirit. It germinates out, right? You guys aren't in competition. You're complimenting each other and saying, "Here's been our experience. Here's been our experience." All with this feeling of, "Hey, we're just here and we're just sharing what we love." And everybody likes to collaborate on it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I think there's a quiet undercurrent of competition, but it's held. It's like we're in the same. It's like we're in the same Olympic team. You know, we share the same flag, and behind the scenes, just looking at each other's numbers and thinking, how do they do that?
Oh, okay, yeah. You can't see it from here. I mean, but yeah, that makes sense.
I shouldn't have said that. I have never.
Oh, now you're in trouble. They're like, well, Josh and Kaylee are like, we're not having Carl back.
That's right. Maybe it's just me. I've never been hurried along when I attempt Portuguese. So far, I have received nothing but patience and appreciation and help. Yeah, a lot of us bring that to the party, don't we? We're standing there in a queue thinking, all these people behind me are hating me right now. And it's not necessarily true, is it?
No, it's not. And they've been comfortable. And when we've been in the queue, you know, we're having the same thing because we're inspired. Because we're like, look, it's Portuguese time. You got to be Portuguese about it. People are going to do their thing, and that's the attraction of the country, is that the stress level is so low because people are just patient. It's just we're here.
I think you're right. We bring the stress to ourselves. Like, the people behind us, they're probably all fine and chill. So we should be fine and chill.
And it's the same on the roads. If you do drive here, you'll have somebody on your rear bumper, you're tailgating you. And it's not meant in any threatening way. It's just naturally, culturally how things are done. And it's like, for me, it's like the scene from that early Spielberg movie, Duel, you know, when you've got the truck behind and the guy's driving along like this and he's looking in the rearview mirror. And then suddenly they're gone. They're driving up behind you at high speed, and then they've turned off at high speed and they've gone. But it's not in any way threatening. And it's so true. We bring that sort of undercurrent, a different undercurrent here of pressure from our own culture, and it's just not evident. We kind of project it, don't we? Also considering Porto to relocate to once retired. Is Luis there? Good choice.
Reach out to us if you want some info.
Yeah, Luis, there's a nice offer there from Hank and Konni. That's the right way. See Portugal in the summer and the winter. It's the good and the bad sides, but not too bad at all. I think we're discovering. Because you said this before, Hank, didn't you? You were doing almost like a scientific test. You know, you were waiting to be disappointed, looking for the downside, and it just wasn't coming, was it? I remember
it never came. And when we were here, we were just like, okay, what's going to tell us that this is insane? Yeah, and it never happened. And I remember having a conversation with Doc and some others probably, where I was like, I'm afraid of what I don't know. And I was saying, okay, here's what I know. What am I missing? And then he's like, you're not missing anything. It is what it is. And that reminds me too, another tip for people who might be afraid of the language barrier, especially up here in northern Portugal. You know, if you know 2 words, you know, you can walk in anywhere, not know anything else. And they're not even hard words. You just have to know the name of the best beer in Portugal, right? And we were up in Mastinhos. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. That's hard because you're like, hey, where you want to go? Mastinhos. So like, where the hell's that? We don't know what you're talking about. But we walked in to this place and we wanted to get some snacks. We were walking the neighborhood, you know, like I was saying, we were kissing hands and shaking babies and just talking to people. And we walked into this cafe and we wanted to get something to eat. And the server behind the counter, she didn't speak any English. There were 6 old Portuguese guys in the corner talking and hanging out as they do. You know, they look at us like, what's going on with these guys? And so I go up to the server woman and I'm like, you know, desculpe, no, falo português, fala inglês? No, right? And so she starts talking with them. They're like, anybody speak English? You know, and they're going back and forth. So they speak a little bit of English. So they're trying to help me out with the menu. They're like, you want a sandwich? You want to do this? You want that? Connie's trying to point to things over there.
The lady starts showing me stuff. I didn't realize Hank what he was doing. She was just pointing to stuff, and so I'm shaking my head. Yes. So she starts making us something.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh, we want to."
Yeah, we need a drink. We need a drink. And so then the one English speaking guy there, and we're talking like all older guys, right? I mean, it was just great. And he said something to the rest of the Portuguese guys. And then I was like, cerveja. And then they're all
of them stopped.
And they all kind of lean in. And I looked back, I'm like, Superbock. And they're all like, yeah, we were all instantly friends. So if you know the name of the best beer in Portugal, then up here you're going to be fine. You know, the second best beer, know the name of that down south, then you're going to be fine.
Whose name you can't even mention. You won't even say it, will you?
Yeah.
You said it wrong.
I say it wrong because it's who needs to know that name? Sagres, right? Sagres?
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Here's a few more than 2 words. Queria dica pica pingada, por favor. Them, would you like anything else? Yeah, like es sol. This is a question I've got for Portuguese people. When somebody in the shop says to you, es sol, as in it's everything, how is that written? Can we see that on the screen, please? The es sol. James, you're not in Porto or Lisboa, are you? From Elra to James, they do tend to have less patience, or if they speak English, they will want to save you the hassle. He's in surfer chilled Ericeira. That might be something to do with it. Just tuned in. Hello. So you'll know Louise as well there. That's Gary. I hope you hug and meditate with them. That's probably with Hank and Connie and the oak trees as well. Everyone, I got to go. Joao F, wishing you all the best there. A message to you guys from Joao F. Another reason to Ericeira is the right choice for me. Yeah, okay, because it's laid back and easy going, like James himself. Easy like a Sunday morning. Hank, I love Hank and Connie's attitude, says the prof.
Thank you.
And great.
He has a good judge character.
Doing it that way is great. Doing it that way. Big boy crypto pants. I've got to say that just so that I can say that. Google helps me speak any language, but big boy crypto pants, that's probably for people who are just getting into cryptocurrency and want to take the first step. Get your big boy crypto pants on and make a purchase. Refreshing insight, Hank and Connie from Fiona and Simon, who are here with us this morning as well. I generally wait, says James, for the Portuguese to greet me. There you go. There's a life hack. And then you just copy, don't you? And the hola seems quite important. When I just say, I'm very sort of truncated and British. I just say, morning, in the morning. And British people often do that, like in Fawlty Towers, afternoon, morning. Portuguese do love a much longer and more poetic than the full hola bom dia. So when I say bom dia, I'll often get an hola bom dia back, as though I should have said the hola as well. I'm wondering if I'm thinking along the right lines there. Oh, Porto! I'm in Porto at the moment. That's a pick me. We're also in Porto. There, Porto meetup.
I'm messaging you on the forums.
Paying it forward. Me too, says Louise there. Louise is with the Solo 50 Plus Expat Portugal YouTube channel, which is always fantastic. When's your next video out? This is one of our. So this is a bit of the quiet competition between the YouTubers. When's the next one out? I don't want to put something out on the same day, but then again, I put something out every day, don't I? Yes, the entirety of Portugal is approximately the size of California, talking of scale. Oh my goodness, have these comments gone this far back? Louise left a little present for you with Cindy Vine, says Matty, as you were house kids. Yeah, you can't find Louise when you need her and you need to give her a present. You've got to leave it with somebody else like Cindy Vine. So you've got something waiting at Cindy's. Another YouTuber. Hope you like it once you've got it. Hope it's not booze, because you'll have to give that to someone else, probably Mrs. M if it is. It took me 2 hours to get to university every day. Tiresome, but doable. Though most people have a car, they do tend to use public transport. The month pass is cheaper than gas, going back to the public transit there. And we are way behind. We've got about 10 minutes to go. I'm sure there's lots of lovely comments to catch up on here, and that's exactly what we'll do. You can generally purchase a monthly pass. It's very nice in Lisbon. I know that. You get a nice plastic card with your photo on it, and it's incredible value because it covers all ferries, even as well as the trams, trains, and metro.
I've seen that. people with their picture, so must be a thing in Porto too.
Yeah, you can go get yourselves one of those, can't you? Bay Area Rapid Transit, that's the BART, isn't it? Oregon's transit sucks unless you live in Portland, says the OLP there. And I love my car, but fancy doing a bit of exploring by train. I enjoyed the train before I brought my car over. Yeah, I loved using trains here, but it's been too long. And thanks for the link, Owen. Yes, to that wonderful house, 124k near Certa. Beautiful house. I've been there. Well worth a look. I agree with Hank, says Abu. One should learn the language. I'm moving in a year and I already started learning Portuguese. And Joel is great value. He's an amazing man. We're way back here. Konni and Hank are great. Awesome to hear from fellow Bay Area folks. And yeah, Bart is filthy.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Solo 50 plus, just started watching your vlogs. You and Cindy Vine just keep doing what you're doing. It's an inspiration to me. And they have a lot of giggles, don't they, those two, when they get together? Hope to be there soon. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm making myself cough here by laughing too much with you guys this morning. At comments, I'm going to leave. So if you've got, unless they're at Hank and Konni, of course, we'd love to do the Portugal to Singapore journey in the future. That can be done by train, apparently. Good morning to you, Louise. Yes, I was going to ask you, you want to go to other parts of Europe. The jumping off point for the rest of Europe could be, Portugal's a great place for doing that, right? Where else do you want to go in Europe?
Where else do you want to go in Europe?
No, to us?
Yes.
Yeah,
you. Go.
No, I definitely want to go back up to Ireland. I've got some roots up there and over to Scotland. And I've been to Austria, Germany, Switzerland. I'd love to go back to all those places. I don't know.
Czechoslovakia.
Yeah.
Bulgaria. Prague, yeah.
I think anywhere we can.
Yeah.
We just want to travel and see the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a World War II history buff, so I wouldn't mind visiting some of the old battlegrounds and maybe follow some of the like Patton's journey, for example. Go visit some of the places that Montgomery, where he was known for. But I mean, for me, it's just everywhere. The whole continent is an oyster, and it's so much easier to get around once you're here, and so much more
Cheaper.
affordable. Once you're here, I mean, because the European public transit system is so much better. So like everywhere, and then Ireland too, because we got roots there. Everywhere, yeah. I mean, it's just great. I mean, although for the first year, it's going to be mostly Portugal, because you can be here, 10 years. I imagine 10 years and not see everything. It's crazy.
Well, and then we want to go back to places we've already been, but we haven't been to places yet in Portugal, so we don't necessarily want to go backward. Yeah, so you got that.
No,
too.
it's fantastic. The oyster of Europe. And this is the pearl chiggle. We could call it pearl chiggle. The oyster of Europe. And yeah, UK. If you want to do a northern France trip with some of the World War II history, you won't be disappointed. Northern France is amazing and great food, obviously. And then you can pop over to the UK as well. I'd love to make Portuguese friends and practice the language and learn about the culture, says Abu. But usually the locals in any country already have their circle of friends since childhood and no place for. You might be surprised here, Abu. I think you will be. I hope you will be. You're on the right track, building a community already before you even get here. Well, we hope we help with that. Bon dia alegria from Mike in Maastricht. I suspect this morning. Great show, guys. And happy birthday to Chris from Jandis. Let's have a look. My work colleagues in the UK always look surprised when I brought stuff from Portugal for them. To us, it is just natural to share. If it's good, why wouldn't you want to share it? Yeah, how lovely. And they probably were surprised not to be getting Matias Rosé from you, Elra, because that's what the Brits are used to from Portugal. Michelle puts what I do best. What's that? Hugging trees, possibly there. I hope you make it here full time. Porto is the next place on my bucket list to visit in Portugal. I love the way so many travelers visit several parts of the country. Gemini's in Maracuja there with the emphasis on the A. I think Maxine's giving me some coaching there. Maracuja. Michelle, it's what I do best. Being in a forest is so beautiful and natural for a Taurian like me, says Gary. United we stand. And yes, joining versus ruling, going back to those things. Brilliant. Big boy crypto pants. Can I open a bank account if I only travel to Portugal once a year on a Schengen visa? Yes, you can. They'll let you open a Portuguese bank account here. Hola, Andrew and Gary from Fiona and Simon. Matty, it's always available to rent online, but pops up on most of the streaming platforms from time to time. I'm not sure what he's referring to there, but all will be revealed, I'm sure. Carl, that picture you mentioned was made just because you have asked for it. was that specially for me? Thank you. Let's maybe get that on the screen tomorrow because it's Feel Good Friday, and that'll give us a nice feel good vibe to see the 5 of you again. Thanks, Hank and Connie. Suze says, you've revved up my enthusiasm about exploring Portugal and not just plunking down in one spot. Plunking. It might be a caravan life after all. Again, you won't be disappointed wandering about this wonderful country. Thank you so very much, Hank and Connie. You've made me more interested in Portugal, as well as being Portugal of the oyster of Europe. It is the Garden of Eden, says Owen. The international gesture of the chef's kiss allowed me to travel. And
that's good.
Well, that is a good one, isn't it? To have in your armory there of visuals. Do you do a lot of sign language in miming as well?
Yeah, I have done a few times. This is international. If you get close enough, saying something in Portugal, they're like,
yes.
And then also I use that for the first time when we were eating at the place because the Francesinha, oh man,
that was good.
Yes, in
Porto, with mask to do some of the, but
yes, indeed. Francesinha. So you are fans, and you managed to sleep for 5 hours afterwards. That's the way to do it.
I couldn't even finish it. I mean, most of them, they're just so dense. But yeah, a nap is good afterwards.
Yeah. We had to roll down the hill in exhaustion, from being all totally stuffed and get back to our place. It is so dense, and the ingredients of that thing on their own, it has no right to be as good as it is.
That's right.
The sauce is the best. I mean, the sauce just.
But it's just like here's 20,000 calories. Here's your whole month's worth of nourishment. Here, eat it and love it. You do.
And an egg, the cheese and the egg and the gravy and the chips on the side. Another track for us. A bonus Faixa de Dia track. George Duke, Reach Out, also Capricorn 12. This track is dedicated to all the Gumpers as we reach out to each other. Very nicely done there, Chris. Connie and Hank, sounds like you're moving to Porto. Doesn't it? I'm moving to that area to Villa de Conde, says Pam.
We're gonna connect.
Stroopwafels. I think it may be what you've been eating. Your Stroopwafels. It was, I don't know if you say it like that. It was the German present for Hank and Connie. And Hank, we will ride in Portugal soon enough. I have 3 bikes here soonish. So is there a biker gang happening as well?
Yes.
Hey,
yeah. We talked about starting the inaugural Dumper Bike Club or biker gang. And Doc's getting a trike built. And I'll have to get a bike. Connie and I will 2 up, and we'll hook up with Maddie and anybody else.
I'll bring me
riding up and down the Silver Coast. Oh my gosh, how amazing would that be?
It would be amazing. The Atlantic Road here, for example, either from San Martino to Peniche, or San Martino to Nazaré, or San Martino to Foz de Relio. You will love it. Hank and Connie, I like the look of the small villages just south of Porto on the train line. Is that too far out from Porto, would you say?
How far south did we go?
We went all over the place.
Right.
Oh, but south. I think that everything's kind of pretty close. I mean, you can get. We stayed along the train lines. We got to Espinho, Aveiro, all along there. It just depends on how far out you want to go. And what your requirements are, right? For us, we were kind of like, well, we don't want to spend 3 hours to get to the airport when it comes time. So maybe Aveiro was a little too far south.
Yeah, understood.
But it's like the person. It's like Rebel Mom. I think she said she just bought a place. She decided on saying it worked for her, or whatever. Yeah. There's some kind of some wisdom in that now that I think about it, because every place is so great. If we have this syndrome of everywhere you go is better than the last place you went,
you're never gonna
find a place that's bad, are you? Right? I mean, you're not. It's not really that big of a risk. But it's hard to answer that question, I think, because I think I would need a little bit more information to be able to give you a good answer. But
if people do want to get in touch, can we?
Yeah. That'd be the best. Yeah, we're running out of time, right? Yeah, I'm on the forums. Hit us up. We're here for you. We're at your service.
And your handle on the forum, please.
Oh crap! What is it? I think it's just Hank 2021. I think that's what it is. Hank 2021.
I think you're ubiquitous there, aren't you? So that people will be able to find
Yeah,
you.
yeah. I post from time to time. You'll be able to find me.
There's the Luis. That's how you get in touch. Dunkirk, must see. There for you, and Gibraltar as well.
Yeah.
World War II buff as well. It's in Sue's there. European theatre. Don't know why. I watch all, and I wish to see the sites too. Hank, fondle the like button. Okay, that's nice. Once here, exploration is a lifelong opportunity. So we're just coming down to the last few comments now. Thank you so much, you two, for giving us so much of your time this morning. I was in a restaurant with French Chinese menu, struggled to find what we might like. American guy walks in, looks at menu, walks to a table of diners, makes a circling gesture, ordering the same. Clever. Well, why not? When you're hungry, you do crazy stuff like that, don't you? Or thirsty, or in need of a drink. Obrigada, Elra, para a língua português there from Louise. And Elra and Rebel Mama talking. I never heard that up here. They say tudo. Maybe I just haven't recognized it yet. So eso, there's the one. That's how you write it. Is that all? Eso. And yes, of course, beer is a universal language, as we discover here. And another Superboc fan, Superboc brothers in the house. I love the non-English cafe situation. It's great, isn't it? It's a free sort of adventure that you can have, even though that most places are discovered in the world now. Going into a Portuguese cafe still gives you that Phileas Fogg sense of adventure. A great way to learn when you're in a cafe, restaurant, or speaking to someone in English is to ask a question. Como se diz em português? And they will teach you so much. Yes, how do you say it in Portuguese? Como se diz em português? You will learn fast. That's a great tip. Thanks for that, Chris, as well. Get used to slow cues in Portugal. Accept it, and it's a joyful opportunity to watch and listen and relax. Josh and Kaylee are great. They are expats everywhere, but I think they're in Germany or Poland right now. They are. While they're out of the country, I shall do my best to dominate the YouTube landscape. As well as Valencia. Yes, we go. And their amazing dog as well. Their dog's got so much character. Bon dia, Hank and Connie from the Bairrada. Another place to go, south of Aveiro there. And let's see. After a 4-week visit, I totally agree. Portuguese people are wonderful. And 4 weeks isn't enough. I'm sure you'd agree with that as well.
Not enough.
PT biker greeting. You'll need that. So good journey, I suppose, or good ride for you there. No. Just to make sure the present is meant for Joel from the Man Cave. Yes. I guess maybe you've eaten it yourselves and you're going around with the packaging in Portuguese shops, not able to get that particular thing. How embarrassing.
Yeah. No, Connie hid it from me to make sure that I didn't eat it because it's just, it
was that good, and he's just, food. Yeah.
Thanks again, Matty, by the way.
It's safe, Matty. Fantastic news from my end. Sale agreed, Carl. Not long now. I hope, fingers crossed, it's getting closer. Well, that's good to know. And I will echo this sentiment as we conclude today. It's been wonderful listening to Konni and Hank. Mustache. We all must. We can't keep these people from exploring more of Portugal. Hank and Konni, thank you so much. And I look forward to doing this again. It's always great fun talking to you. So educational, so much fun. And really brilliant to find out about your particular journey here. So look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks, Carl. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Anytime we can contribute and be involved with the community, it's a privilege. It really is. Thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody.
Fantastic. You're the best. Have a great day in Portugal.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Ciao, ciao. Bye for now. See you on the webinar tonight, or we'll see you at 9 p.m. for you Premium Plus folks, or tomorrow for some Feel Good Friday action with Philomena. Get those linguistic and cultural questions in. Ciao, ciao. Bye for now.